Welcome to the conclusion of the Super Mario Bros. Review trilogy. You know why it's so dark? The power went out. This was due to an experiment of me trying to fit a DS charger on a power extension cord with my other chargers on there. I guess before a fire occurs, I can quickly look at Super Mario Bros. 3, so cue the intro. What you're looking at right here is what many consider the definitive 2D Mario experience. Unless you count Super Mario World, but we'll take a look at that another day. Super Mario Bros. 3 was released in October 1988 in Japan, February 1990 in NTSC regions, and August 1991 in PAL regions. The game was met with critical acclaim, even going as far as being considered one of the greatest games of all time, as well as being in the top 3 best-selling NES games. Is this game truly Nintendo's swan song to the NES, or is it another relic of its time like Zelda 2? Let's find out. The plot this time is that Mario and friends make a play, which is evident by the curtain during the opening cutscene. That should indicate that the entire game is staged, and none of this ever happened. Mario and Green Mario both reprise their respective roles as they have to retrieve the 7 wands to save the 7 kings from whatever animal they turned into. This was done by each of the Koopalings, which are King Koopa's children? I don't know, look it up. Overall, a straightforward plot that works well enough for an NES platformer in the year 1988. Pressing start on the title screen brings you straight to a hub world map, which is where we select whatever levels we want to play. Each of the hub worlds contain different themes. World 1 is an overworld, World 2 is a desert, World 3 is an aquatic-like world, World 4 is overworld again, but this time
everything is bigger than you.
World 5 is in the clouds, World 6 is a snow world, World 7 is a pipe world, and World 8 is a fiery underworld. So many worlds. Some are more gimmicky than others, but that doesn't make those levels worse, because every level in this game is great, and I'll come back to that shortly. The game controls much like the first Super Mario Bros. Game, as you're only stuck to one gameplay style, instead of multiple like in Super Mario Bros. 2. Mario feels a lot more flexible in the air, which can make it easier to steer Mario's jumps. I did say that the first game had the best controls in platforming.
I consider these to be the best controls for any platformer.
Well, I believe the title should go to Super Mario Bros. 3 instead, just for that one reason alone. While the crouch jump from Super Mario Bros. 2 has been removed, there is now a new mechanic called a P-meter, which fills up the longer Mario runs, and when the bar is full, Mario can jump really high, or fly, or make piranha plants cry. Your average Big F joke. You can still pick up items, but this time, you have to pick them up from the side, and you're only limited to things that can be grabbed, such as Koopa shells or these bricks I found in World 3. This game is over 70 levels of platforming bliss, with excellent level design and the right level of difficulty, challenging for veterans of this genre, while accessible enough to newcomers to make this an enjoyable experience. And then there's the power-ups. The power-ups are back. For real this time. And there are lots of new ones here too. Returning items include the mushroom, which gives you an extra hit, and you can only get hit 3 times before dun 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 dun. The Fire Flower and Star also return, as they do the same thing as before, which is good because those 2 power-ups worked well in previous games. But this game, Mario's going like Sonic. Wow, he's so fast, but go fast, 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 fast. The raccoon suit is really overpowered. Don't get me wrong, I love this power-up, but I won't be lying that it makes some levels way easier than they should be, as you can simply fly around them using the P-meter, if you have enough space of course. Same can be said for the Tanuki suit, which does the same thing, except Mario can transform into a statue to confuse enemies, in which I never used. And also the P-wing, which has the P-bar permanently filmed up, making it so that you can fly over all the action in the level. brilliant. Speaking of never used, I never used the hammer suit throughout my entire playthrough of the game, mostly because I never found it, and also, there isn't really much to talk about as it essentially gives you the hammer bro abilities. This power-up is so obscure that even the manual doesn't mention the power-up. You know this power-up is mediocre when the manual doesn't take note of its existence at all. And then we have the frog suit. Mario loves to just stop in place after every jump, making it so difficult to move, which can feel near impossible to beat levels with. Power up, more like power down. Was I actually going for a joke there? Power-ups can be collected outside of levels as well, such as these toad houses. You can also choose whatever power-up you want to use before selecting a level, which is recommended especially for the more challenging levels. Other power-ups can only be used on the map, and these power-ups can help, such as creating shortcuts, which can be used to skip certain levels in case you get a game over and restart the world. These aren't required, but they can make the levels feel less repetitive so that you don't have to play through them over and over and over again. World 8 has a lot of these kinds of levels, so it makes the game much more forgiving, especially compared to Super Mario Bros. 2. All the enemies from the first game return, as well as the bob-ombs from Super Mario Bros. 2. Some of them were redesigned to fit in with the art style, while others maintain their original looks, which was kinda lazy on Nintendo's part. There are so many new enemies as well, including series mainstays such as the Chain Chomp, and the different Bros enemies you encounter, to name a few.
And baby enemies.
Like its predecessors, Super Mario Bros. 3 has a life system, and running out of lives will only send you back to the start of the world, whilst not resetting any progress on the map. Thank the Lord of Fire! This makes the game feel much less tedious when you die, as you don't have to play through the castle levels again. Good. You gain extra lives via 1-ups, which are found in levels or rewarded as a bonus at the end of a level, or during these gambling minigames in the world map. Also good. Speaking of castle levels, they are much like how they were in the first game, in which were full of
fire stuff.
Getting to the end has you fighting Boom Boom, who is a reoccurring boss in these castle levels. Well, there's not much to say here except boom 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 on his head and you win. The real bosses take place in the airship levels and wow, they are so difficult. Look at all the cannonballs you have to dodge while the level scrolls extremely slow. I also have a personal hate towards auto-scrollers, so it didn't really make the experience much better. As for the Koopalings, I like them, as they each have their different attacks, or different arenas from each other. Larry has an elevated platform, Morden is a pushover, Wendy's projectiles bounce around the flat arena, Iggy loves to jump, Roy creates earthquakes after every jump, Lemmy chucks his balls at you, and Ludwig is a combination of all of them. After beating Ludwig and saving all the kings, including the one that looks like Mario, King Koopa takes Princess Toadstool like the first game, and it's up to the Mario Bros to save the day. Well, here I am, up to the final boss. Let's-a go. Well, at least you could say it was better than this.
That's not saying much.
So you save the princess once again, but this time it's much more self-aware, as it references the first game as a joke.
Something that Super Mario Odyssey can't boast, that's for sure.
And I completely forgot the entire game was staged, and the fact that you still cannot save. The former isn't really a problem, so don't think I'm downing the game because of that. The no save thing is inexcusable in my eyes. The Legend of Zelda came out 2 years prior, and you can save in that game, so why was it so difficult for the third entry in the Super Mario Bros. Series to have a save feature? Because Nintendo But in all honesty, these were things I overlooked, mostly because of how amazing the core gameplay is, along with the excellent soundtrack. And when your soundtrack's best piece is a 5-second loop, you know you're listening to a masterpiece. So let's go back to what I said earlier. Is this Nintendo's swan song of the NES? It is. So much so that I'm giving it an approval and a half. Which is high praise for those who are wondering. You have amazing level design, with awesome music, and the map concept is something to adore. Sure, the power-ups are a tad bit unbalanced for my liking, and I didn't find King Koopa to be as enjoyable as the fight with Wart, but I can say this. Super Mario Bros. 3 is not a game to miss out on if you're a Mario fan or just a 2D platform fan in general. Just in time to end the Super Mario Bros. Trilogy review. In terms of me reviewing the other Mario games such as Super Mario World or the Super Mario Land games, I'll just wait until another time to review those games. Since my DS is fully charged, I can finally play New Super Mario Bros. So expect a review of this game shortly.
The end.